for stopping back by Wild Bird Creative. I'm going to make a project today, and it's going to have several different steps. You'll notice I don't have my pile of scraps ready to go. We're starting this one from scratch. So I have this Stencil Girl product stencil, which is an L857 Duclos, and it's actually 4 different ones, which is really nice. We're going to start with this right up here. And I've got my ultramarine blue, and we're just going to come in and just very lightly go right across this piece of cast off copy paper. And I am going to come across most of it. I don't have to have the whole thing covered because I'm only going to be using part of this. I will be cutting a shape out. I'm just trying to get some good cover down, and you can see it makes a very cool shape. It's a lot of fun. I'll just use this until there is nothing left on here. There we go. Set that aside, set this aside, and you can see I've just got a shape here. And all I'm going to do is just rough cut around here, making a half capsule shape. And then I'll just fine tune it a little bit from there. I've got my basic shape that I want. Take a little bit more off there. And then I'm just going to cut a little bit off the top. Let me take a little more actually. So there we go. Then to let this dry, and then I will show you how we're going to build from this. If you haven't guessed already, this is a vase type shape. So let me get the rest of the supplies ready, let this dry, and we will go from there. Okay, I've got a Julie Balzer stencil here. It's a scribble one. I can't think of the exact name of it, but it's basically type that just adds interest. You can't really read any words. And I'm just coming in with a lighter blue. I just added some white to the leftover blue that I had. I haven't done a messy project in a while. This is kind of fun. This is a great stencil. It's nice and sturdy, but it's still very thin, so that when you're using it, you get nice crisp lines. The paint doesn't seep underneath. And I'm just using this as a base. You'll see what I mean after it dries and we do the next layer. Just coming in, trying to get nice coverage. I'm trying to move around as I do it so that I'm coming from a little bit different angle. Twisting my hands so that I can make sure that I get some of the tiny little details. And I'll show you what it looks like as you do it. It's just a great look. and it makes a nice background. As you can see, I'm bringing it down, 3/4 of the way on the page. And that's all I want because I'm going to be doing something different on the bottom. So I don't need to worry so much about that area. And again, I'll have to let this dry. This will end up taking longer to do, just so you know, so you can allot the amount of time that you need. This isn't one of those do it when you can spare 5 minutes. And there will be mess to clean up. I will have my sponges and my palette knife and my stencils. Just come right across here. Make sure I get that little spot. Carefully move my fingers over. There we go. I'll set that to the side. And again, going to let it dry, but I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I have my old Tim Holtz stencil that, boy, has this seen a lot of use. And I'm just going to come in and continue with a very, very nice aqua. And this is just to give a little more detail and interest. And all I'm going to do is just roughly line it up and just keep going around the whole piece. Takes a little longer, but that's okay. You can also flip it over as you're doing it and take some of this wet paint and make a reverse print. It's not meant to be perfect, it's just meant to be a colorful layer. All of these little openings have little rough edges, so you end up with a nice bit of detail. Shift it up a little higher so that I can bring it right up the top. And just keep on keeping on with it. Takes a little bit of time. You have to have patience for this. You can work wet on wet, of course. And I'm not putting on a very heavy coat. So actually, I can move pretty quickly. But if you do happen to put on a little too much, just, go get a cup of tea or a soda in between layers. This is not a timed test. And bring some right through here. There we go. Set that aside. And I'm keeping pretty much the same palette this whole time. I'm just mixing the same colors in and lightening them up, or adding a little bit of green just to keep it interesting. Just because I don't want to get into having colors that are really too harsh near each other. So let me see. I think what I will do next is, got a couple options here. Can use either one of these. I think I'll do this one because it's nice and delicate, and it makes it easy to come right in and just work my way around. I don't have to be too particular. And again, it's just adding a layer. Don't worry about it too much because we're going to keep adding. Now I could have gone a lot darker with this layer, but I really didn't want it to stand out too much. I wanted it to be a very subtle bit of color on top of what we just put down. Just bring it right out to the edge. Put a little more in here, why not? And you know what? Let's put some here. And this is another one that you can flip it over and run your brayer and get these wonderful lines. There we go. Let's set that aside. And this I'm going to let dry completely before we move on. Here we are. The background is ready to go. Now I drew a little tiny mark right here. You can't see it. I just did it lightly with pencil, so I have an idea where the top of my shape is. And this is where we're getting real creative. Be brave. Don't worry about perfection here. Just have fun. Now what I'm doing is I've got a little tiny funny spatula here. And I'm just going to make some marks. And I'm just starting with this because it allows me to just let things be. And I can use the very edge and get very, very fine lines. Just having fun. And then when I'm ready, I can take a brush and do the same thing. This is an old grimy brush. It's really on its last legs. So it is perfect for something that you want to have be very free and delicate. Now you could do this with ink. I just happen to have no ink handy, or not enough ink. I have to go get some more. You can also use the other end of your paintbrush. It's a little harder because it doesn't want to hold the paint the same way. So you're at the mercy of it running out when it wants. But still, it works out okay. When you're doing it where you're using both ends, you'll probably want to have a scrap of paper nearby or paper towel so you can make sure that you clean off the end. That way, when you lay it down, you know that one end is clean and one end is not. Okay, that's all I'm going to do right now. Again, I've got to let it dry. See, a lot of steps in this one. But from here, it goes really, really quickly, if messily. So let me let this dry and we'll go from there. Here we are. It is dried. I have corks, different sizes, and I have pink paint. And now I'm just going to add little blobs here and there. And if you hadn't guessed, they're like little petals. And again, they don't have to be perfect. We set that one aside and try a different one. You'll notice that a synthetic cork behaves differently than a natural cork. A natural cork is a little more forgiving. A synthetic one, because it's very smooth, gives you just a totally different imprint. There's no right or wrong. It really depends on the look you're going for. This one has a broken spot in it, so I'm not going to get a full imprint. I'm going to get something very, very soft. The other end of it has a split. So again, it will give me something entirely different, but that's okay. This is just mark making fun. Let's see. Keep going here. I wish I had really, really tiny corks, but I have yet to find anything quite that small. The only thing I have found, if I can reach it here, is the head of a roofing nail. It's not the most forgiving, but let me show you what it does. It just gives you a very, very tiny, like a bud-sized one. And you can mix them up. I mean, it's all good. This is your piece. Do what size you want. And I'll mix some in here. Why not, right? They can be like the little buds that haven't quite opened yet. And the more you add, the more layers you come up with. Just like when you look at cherry blossoms or apple blossoms, there's a lot to see. And because I was mixing paint, I'm ending up with some different colors in here. So I'm getting a little bit that has more white in it, a little bit that has more of the color red was this, let me tell you. Brilliant magenta. Oops, put him out of the way so we don't have a shadow. I mean, if you've ever looked at artwork that is pointillism or very impressionistic, you'll notice that they use a lot of things that your eyes then tell you are something. But it's really just shapes. Shapes masquerading as other things. When you turn them, you get a nice little rosette effect as the paint spreads a little bit and gives you some extra layers. Let's see. I think I want one up here. Let's get a little more on here. Tap that one again. I want him to be a little darker. And then I'm going to go back to my nail and add some small ones, and I'm just going to do several, one after another, and let the paint come off as it wants. so that there's no doubt that it is what the paint is doing, not my choice. I am not the one deciding how the paint is going to land. I'm putting the nail down, but each spot has a different bit of absorbency. Let's soften that part of the trunk a little bit. Now, I don't know about you, but I grew up with apple trees. Pretty much everybody's yard had an apple tree in it. They weren't necessarily apples good for eating because the trees were very old, but every spring there were loads of blossoms. Okay, going to stop there, let it dry, and then we'll add some leaves. It is dry enough for us to continue. All I have done is taken some leaf green, and I'm just coming in with my fingertip and just adding subtle little spots of green. I could have done the petals also with my fingertip, but I wanted them to have a little more size. So here we go. Again, just that one I've got a little too much on. Let me dab that off. Just coming through and just having fun. This is messy. There is no doubt about that. Take a little bit off there too. Let's come up in here. And some of them I'm going right on over because the leaves can be on top of the petals. Helps just make the petals go back a little more. Makes you feel like a kindergartner again to be using your fingers. You could be using your pinky also. I'm just sticking to the index finger because we all have things that we need to get done. And this video is already a lot longer than I would normally do. Okay, I'm going to stop and don't go anywhere because now I'm going to come in with my other hand and just put some little yellow dots like you would see in the middle of a flower. My yellow is almost gone. I'm very sad about it, but I keep forgetting to grab more. It's my own fault. You can see the way that just gives you that little bit of detail. There we go. So messy, but it's okay. Let's go on to the final step once I wash my hands. Okay, I jumped ahead a little bit and I have put down this scrap of paper that just has a random pattern on it from, a project I did a long time ago, and the little vase that we made. Figured you didn't need to see me gluing them down after all the time you saw me hitting things with my fingers. So here is the finished piece. A vase, some sprigs of flowers on a table. Just something simple, just something fun. Pull out your supplies. See what you can make. Maybe you'll do lilies. Maybe you will do dandelions or poppies. It doesn't matter. Just have fun. Just see what you can explore. Now I'm thinking once everything is totally dry, I may come in and do some stamping along here. You'll see that in the final one. I was kind of looking at adding in just maybe a little more interest. We'll see, but I really am going to let it dry before I do anything else. I was very, very careful gluing things down, but I hope that you will try something similar, make it your own, make it unique, have a good time, speak kindly to yourself while you're doing it, and don't be afraid to get messy. Thanks for stopping by. Wild Bird Creative.